This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com. Welcome. This is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz. It's 7/19/23, show number 510. Well, earnings are starting to really come in at a brisk pace, Nick.
Yeah, we're going to really start to pick up the earnings pace here as the week continues. The first few days of earnings are always really just the financials, and they've actually held up well. The financial stocks have caught a pretty good bid on the back of earnings. Bank of America was reported yesterday. They acted well. JP Morgan's acting well right now. Even Goldman Sachs, which didn't have good earnings, is acting well today, up about $5.50 as we speak. So that has certainly helped the market rally. But tonight we get earnings from a different group. We're going to get Tesla. We're going to get NFLX and IBM reporting tonight. So we'll see what the tone is tomorrow, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, what you have any expectation based on how the stocks are behaving now?
Well, I got to say, it's an options X week, but Tesla has had a tremendous run. I mean, this stock has gone from basically a low back in January, which was around 101, 102.
Yeah, you called it.
Yeah, and it's back to 300 now. I didn't expect it to get back up this far. I thought it bounced 20, 30 points, but this thing has bounced 200 points. So a lot of the good news, whatever it is, has to be baked into the cake a little bit. I would expect at least. And then you have NFLX, which is another big mover. This stock, back in 2022 was down around, I believe, $162, and now we're at $477. So, does it want to go for that psychological 500 number? Perhaps it does. The trends are up on these things, so you have to respect it. IBM, I'm unsure. That thing, goes all over the place, but it stays very range bound. So, my forecast for IBM would be, if you got a big sell-off, 117 would be a buying opportunity. If it rallies, shorted at around 147, I think that's probably all the upside you could see. Right now it sits at 136. I'm not sure we'll get that big of a move in it, but that's the best I could give you on those names. But, the big ones are starting to come out. Next week we'll get some, big ones, I believe, with the mega cap tech names as well.
Right. And of course, like you mentioned, Friday is Options X.
Yeah, this coming Friday is Options X for July. So as the listeners know by now, Kerry, we've been talking about this for years. This is a week of institutional game playing. When you combine Options X with earnings, traders should be on guard for a lot of whipsaw in many of the popular stocks. Not always to the downside, but sometimes to the upside. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, we got news from Microsoft that they signed a deal with Meta, and they also came out with an AI subscription service, and the stock, took off to the upside, right? That news probably was going to be released during Options X. It wasn't going to be released the week before or the week after. So this is just a week where, you'll hear good announcements and bad announcements. Be aware of it. You'll hear takeover rumors. A lot of that stuff is false. And then we'll get ridiculous, and I do mean ridiculous, upgrades and downgrades this week, because these guys have an agenda. They know where to park stocks by the end of the week. They know where the retail options trader has placed their bet into the end of expiration, and they're going to usually move the stock either somewhere away from that expiration, usually not in the favor of the retail trader.
Yeah, well, worthless options mean increased profits to the big boys, right?
That's right. And these guys have sophisticated computer equipment. They read time and sales going forward, and they can figure it out. And they do it each and every month. We've seen this going on for ages now.
It never fails. Hey, so gold is pulling back a little bit today. It looked like it was going to march relentlessly on to 2,000 again. Maybe not so fast.
Yeah, not so fast. You remember last week when gold made its move on the dollar collapsed, I had given the members here, or the listeners here, a level of 1985. I said, we're going to go right to that 1985 level. And we did that yesterday. So yesterday, it looks like gold futures got up to 1988. And today we're at 1977, backing off a little bit. But it doesn't mean it's the end of gold right now. The pattern is going to be important to watch over the next few days, maybe even over the next week or so. But, if you go sideways, Kerry, gold can go higher. And that's the bottom line right now.
Hey, this is like a first that I've seen recently on a website I look at. Every single index is green. Dow, NASDAQ, Nikkei, Russell, NYSE, TSX, US dollar is positive, and crude.
Yeah, even the dollar is actually having a big bounce today. And the market doesn't seem to care. I guess maybe the dollar has been beaten up so bad lately, but the dollar is making a pretty good bounce, up about 0.5%, which is a big move for the Dixie. But yeah, you're right. Everything is up today. It's just one of those days where, and a lot of this probably here in the U.S. is options X related.
Probably so. Hey, gold. So gold, like we said, was strong. It's pulled back now. Silver still over $25 an ounce. Remember, it got down to high 22s when it was getting slammed a week and a half ago, Nick.
Yeah, it's incredible. It was, just on, I believe, June 23rd, it traded as low as 22.14. And then the dollar collapsed and this thing took off to the upside. And, it hasn't looked back yet. So I'm going to watch the pattern. I'll never chase it. I missed this move here for silver, but I'm going to watch the pattern now. And if it consolidates, I have to jump on board. But if it does come back down and by some chance, I don't think it's going to go much below that 22 level, 21, 20, anywhere. Those areas are just golden goose buying opportunities, in my opinion. But right now it's acting well.
All right. And finally, Bitcoin's down under 30,000. Is that a sell or what?
Yeah, the Bitcoin chart, I would tell everybody to go look at the weekly pattern. So, yeah, it's pulling back a bit today. It even sold off the last 3 sessions. But when you look at the weekly chart, it's still bullish consolidation. And sometimes those bigger time frames should be viewed. And in this case, I'm going to say right now the pullbacks on Bitcoin are not bad. So that weekly chart has still got a bullish formation. And as long as it holds here, it can work its way higher for one more rally. And I'll be watching that chart pattern as we go forward. But a little bit of down ticking today, but there's nothing really terrible there overall.
All right. Well, that's it for today. We will be back on Friday, which happens to be my birthday. Make sure you go over to Nick's site, inthemoneystocks.com, and see how he's beaten the averages for decades. Twitter feeds at ITMS, at Nick Santiago 01, at Kerry Lutz. Emails are welcome, KL@KerryLutz.com. God, I had a comment that I wanted to run by you, Nick, but of course now I can't find it. Well, I mentioned that one, the hedge fund guy who was up 8.5%. Geez. All right, we'll look through them and we'll come up with something here, Nick. Okay.
That's fine. We'll do it maybe on Friday.
All right. We'll see you Friday. Oh, here. Nick's record on manipulated gold is far below his general equity trades, which is no wonder, but it isn't going to 1,600 as pointed out a few weeks ago. This is from Nana at Nana. The bottom is in, and it's a manipulated but failing cartel of toughly fought higher prices from here.
There's always a chance. And listen, that's what makes a trade, So what I would always tell everybody is right now you watch the pattern. There's nothing to say, but I would tell you this much. If it does go down to 1,600, jump all over it. That's where you want to get in. And if it doesn't go there, just watch pattern. If the pattern is good, jump on it there. It doesn't really matter to me where it goes. The one thing about this business that I've tried to do or I've tried to accomplish over the last few years is keep my ego out of it. The one thing I know is that, I don't go out there bragging every day that I bought silver at 1740 and I picked the bottom perfectly. And, I traded it all the way up to 24. I made 240% on my options, over 40% on my swings. I just know that, hey, if it gets down to that level, that's where I want to get involved. Recently, Kerry, I bought wheat, WEAT. This thing got down to 591. I told the members 6 months in advance it would go to 591. And when it got down there, what did we do? We bought it and we made 16% on the second half in about 8 trading days. So, again, it's not about the ego or anything like that. I'm just giving everybody the big number, and saying, hey, if it gets here, this is where you want to load up, sometimes I hurt myself by giving out these numbers too soon because people jump on board before it, and that's just the, law of nature. But again, that's just how it works. And if it gets there, it gets there. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It doesn't offend me. I've got all the gold and silver that I'm going to need in this lifetime.
Same here. Hey, there was one other thing. The guys applauding us. Amazing knowledge they are showing here. What is the outlook for nat gas? Is it going under $2?
No, nat gas is bottomed. Just look at it. Look at the chart of nat gas. It's making higher lows. It's stair stepping, but that's accumulation, and that's. These guys know. So look at Warren Buffett. He just bought an LNG terminal. You think nat gas is going lower? Give me a break. This thing is making higher lows. It's a monthly chart pattern. Sometimes, when you crash from 10 to 2, it's amazing how everybody loved it at $10 and they hated it at $2. Nat gas gets above 305, 307. It's going to squeeze. You'll see this thing get to $5, $6 pretty fast, and ultimately back to new highs.
Right now, I should mention the Henry Hub is 262. That's it for today. We will talk to you on Friday, Nick.
Sounds good, Kerry.